If you are detoxing from a parasite outbreak or just doing a parasite detox period, one of the things scientists, doctors, CDC, one of the things that they're not explaining to people is that parasites have a hive mentality, and you have your queen bee breeder females and the males that are adult. They're large in stature, which means the small ones that you see coming out, those are the babies. You have egg, you have larva, you have the biofilm, which has more larvae and eggs in it. And then the larger ones that are actually creating those babies, like you have ones of every age, and they started at birth. If you did maintenance and dewormed yourself, there's a lot of people that say, oh yeah, I got dewormed when I was a kid. Well, you're actually supposed to be getting dewormed twice a year, minimum. However, we are also supposed to be on a cultural diet of herbs, spices, and specific foods that our ancestors used to eat. And so by eating Americanized foods, we actually invite parasites into our systems. And so what people don't understand is our whole Americanized system of things sets us up to collect parasites throughout the entirety of our lives. And what is not being done is education, as well as proper parasite detoxes. And so dietary changes have to be made, which is why RFK is changing a lot of things in America right now. And so dietary changes absolutely have to be made in order for your parasite detox to even have effect. For me, I have to go on seaweed, more of what I call a mermaid diet, a seafood-based diet, getting away from red meats, processed foods. The more you gather yourself, the higher nutritional value it has. And I realize that some people are into wild game. However, that is still red meat, and we are finding contamination in deer meat. And that's potentially because they too are affected by parasites. How? Why? Because the forever chemicals that are in our atmosphere polluting everything. And so essentially, we are going to have to go back to cultural ways in order to combat parasites. Sitting next to my wood stove, doing things more the same as what my ancestors did. I'm going to need electricity I'm going to need to downsize on electricity, because having all these wires around us contribute to the problem. So you have your adult, mature parasites that you were born with. You have those throughout your nervous system. And they are attached, they are rooted into your muscles. And they release like an octopus and start retracting their tentacles. And they head to your intestinal tract to be exited out the next morning. However, if you are staying on your current diet, they have no desire to leave. And so what I've had to do is completely alter my diet and eat only things that parasites do not like. And so by altering the cultural diet, altering back to a cultural diet and getting back to ancient ways, the parasites then no longer want to, I'm no longer territory that's viable for them, for their offspring. And so they're going to choose to exit. At this point in time, I have had so much wormwood. I've been on my current diet and herbal routine for approximately a year. And what I did was I started off slow with ivermectin, turmeric, spices that I could handle. And then I gradually increased. I now eat Korean chili paste and different things like that. Eating nuts, tiger nuts are what's best, but mixed nuts, namely almonds, pumpkin seeds, and pine nuts, those actually help offload from your system. I make tea with Douglas fir pine tips. I go out and I gather my own mullein, my own moss, all of these things. Not only does the gathering of these things help with offloading parasites, but just being near these items offloads parasites. And so last summer I actually wrapped myself in moss, and that actually offloaded parasites. We are supposed to be living so close with nature, like sleeping on a bed of moss or a bed of pine branches. We are actually supposed to be extra close with nature, not all modernized. Even my house is too modernized. And so in modernizing our lives, we condemn ourselves to chronic parasite problems. And it's in getting away from it, not because we don't want to participate in current construct, but because we want to be well. And so there's a lot of things I'm going to be doing to change up my house in a creative way so that I'm a modern day ancient instead of just modern. And so I'm going to be combining ancient ways, ancient techniques into my modern life in ways that I can tolerate without feeling, well, I already feel like I live in a different century than everybody else. But we're supposed to be sitting next to a fire, absorbing the flames. We're supposed to have more downtime than what we do. Wintertime is supposed to be designated for parasite purges, and it's not. Our whole way of life, like people that are obese, people that are super skinny, the prettier they are, the more parasites they have. That just means that they have T. gondii and sexually transmitted parasites, because in order for the parasites to spread throughout society, they need that person to look good. And so, yes, a healthy person looks good, but so does a person with a lot of sexual parasites, because that's the proverbial snake in the grass that is enticing you in. You think you're in love with the person, it's actually your parasites attracted to each other. And that can actually lead you to very terrible places and STDs, which are carried by the parasites you are trading with your lovers. And so if you want, like, porn stars, prostitutes, people that sleep around actually have a higher parasite count. And if you stay with someone that's cheating on you, you can then get the same problems as though you slept with that many people yourself. Ask me how I know. These things happen.